Okay, everybody, good afternoon. What is going on? Still just counting down the days until the preseason wraps up here for the Seahawks. Just a few days away. And we've also got a Hard Knocks episode tonight. Just a reminder, I will be posting a video later tonight after the episode airs. I'll also be posting a video, an article over on Seahawks on SI. So keep an eye out for all that later on. But before we get to that Hard Knocks episode, want to talk about some more Seahawks stuff, specifically some fallout from the game that we played on Sunday. And here's another element of it that I find to be interesting. And I know that in the grand scheme of things, this seems relatively minor, but it's definitely caught my attention. And, I would love to retroactively eventually get proven a little bit right on this one. I'm talking about Christian Haynes. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. So a few people have noticed, like you've got these tweets on my screen right now from Mookie Alexander, the guy who runs Field Goals, and Sleeper Seahawks. You've got a couple different people here, and there have been others as well, acknowledging the fact that Christian Haynes actually seems like he's showing up to the Seahawks this year ready to play a little bit of football. And I don't want to go too far with it. I don't want to exaggerate things too much. But through two preseason games, he's looked playable. And I mentioned Christian Haynes in a previous video, and I got a couple comments of people saying, well, he looks like Anthony Bradford because he has some really good plays and then he has some really bad plays. Like this play that Mookie posted, you've probably seen it, really good looking play. He rides, I think it's actually Jeffrey Simmons down to the ground, and he had some other good reps in that game too, but then there are other reps where he just plain completely misses his guy, and that's like Anthony Bradford. But the thing to keep in mind, if Christian Haynes looks like Anthony Bradford, that is a big improvement for him. And I know that sounds like faint praise maybe, and on some level it is. But seriously, if Christian Haynes can play at the level of Anthony Bradford, that's a big step up from where he's been. So just to kind of frame the conversation a little bit here, Pro Football Focus so far this preseason has graded him as a slightly above replacement level player. They gave him a really good grade for the Dallas game, even with that one really bad rep he had in Pass Pro, which most of you guys remember. And then they thought he played tolerably, barely against the Titans, but collectively, they've thought he's been a workable player, which is much better than last year in the preseason, and the year before that in the preseason, which was tolerable, which was workable. I mean, he's still a little bit better this year. And it's way better than anything we've seen from him in the regular season, where every time he's played, he's been regarded as one of the worst players in the sport. You've got penalties, you've got pass pro, you've got just getting completely outmanned and outmuscled. Whatever it may be, Christian Haynes has just not been able to look even remotely competent whenever we put him into a game outside of maybe the first preseason he was here. And even then, to my recollection, I was not impressed with him even back then. And it's a little bit weird because Christian Haynes was intended to be a finished product when we drafted him, somebody who was ready to just hit the ground running and go play football. But 2 years later, the third year of his career, maybe we're starting to finally see a viable player here. And again, I'm not trying to rock the boat here too much. I'm not asking for a ton here. But when I looked at Christian Haynes in college, I saw a player that had a very good floor and a little bit of a lower ceiling. So the fact that he has had such a low floor has been shocking to me. And it would be weird to me if he was suddenly capable of playing football now, but maybe that's what we're getting. All right, guys, let's take a quick break here to talk a little bit about Prize Picks, currently the #1 sports pick app in America. The app is very easy to use. Check it out to my left here. You can do player picks, where you just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. Or you can pick teams, where you pick winners, spread, or total on any game or fight. The app is available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida. Right now, they have a great offer. You can play your first $5 lineup and get $150 in lineups if you win. All you have to do is use code HMA when you sign up. It's a brand new offer. Best time possible to get on the app. So get on over there and get to winning that first lineup. So remember, Prize Picks, code HMA. Download the app today and remember to always gamble responsibly. So maybe things are starting to settle in a little bit. At the very least, we can get something out of this guy because before we got into training camp this year, I didn't think Haynes was going to make the team. And going into camp after hearing basically nothing about Haynes for several weeks, I continued to believe that. But now at this point, I'm wondering, between the injuries and the fact that he seems like he's found his footing a little bit, maybe Christian Haynes has a little bit of value he can give this team while we're here. So what is he going to do for this team? Probably not a ton, but I'm just asking him to be viable, somebody that I can look at and go, okay, that guy's our backup, and that's okay. I'm cool with that. So when I look at the Seahawks depth chart on the offensive line, the big thing that stands out right now is, of course, Mason Richman. Mason Richman, we know he's going to be out a while because they've already told us. I know they haven't officially put him on IR yet, but it's coming. Or at the very least, a declaration of him missing a bunch of time this year is coming. So there's no drama there. So he's out, and that allows somebody else to come in. And it could be Haynes, could be Cable Dew. We know Stevens is going to make the team. There's no drama there either. Even though Stevens may not be good yet, he's going to make the team. We're going to give him time. So between Haynes and Cable Dew, I think Haynes has probably looked better so far this preseason. And I think that Haynes may very well secure that 10th offensive line spot. And by the way, if we end up only carrying one backup tackle, then maybe both make it. Like if Amari Kite and Bobby Hart don't make the team, or Logan Brown, then it is theoretically feasible that we might end up looking at a situation where you just carry a bunch of interior linemen. Now, where does Haynes play? He came into the league as a right guard. I've wondered if maybe he might be better at left guard because it seems like he's a little bit overwhelmed by power, but he's got decent athleticism. But maybe he can do both. We've tried him at center. Doesn't seem like he can snap the ball very well, so that feels like a dead end, but maybe he can be a backup on both sides. Just like we're trying to teach Bo Stevens to be a backup on the left side and the right side. Just like we're not committing to one over the other necessarily with him, maybe Haynes can be the same thing. So is he going to take the starting job from Bradford? Almost certainly not, because like I just said, even with recent positive developments with Christian Haynes, kind of feels like he's basically just Bradford, but without the synergy and familiarity with the offense and the system and just the other offensive linemen in general. So I'm not sitting here saying that I think Bradford loses his job to Haynes, but if Haynes can be the backup on both sides, if something happens with Zabel or Bradford and we don't feel bad about that, like we end up thinking, okay, if Haynes goes in, I think we can survive for a little bit, then that's a significant improvement over where we were, right? Like we were at a pretty low point with Christian Haynes. I was kind of forgetting he was on the team. And Bo Stevens, I think pretty clearly not ready yet. So if Christian Haynes wants to at least deliver replacement level snaps, that's great. But seems like something's finally kicked in here. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Gonna be more videos later. Like I said, Hard Knocks tonight. But for now, just going through some stuff that's occurred to me so far this preseason. Go Hawks.